A couple days ago, I made a very long audio explaining about scholarship opportunities for Africans. But if you listen to that particular audio, it was more focusing about graduate scholarships for Africans to go to study in Europe, America, Australia, New Zealand, and all other countries which are more advanced compared to the countries in Africa. But I didn't talk more about undergraduate scholarships. So today I'm having this session to explain about undergraduate scholarship or undergraduate opportunities for people from Africa. So please listen very careful. Share this particular video to your friends on social media, whether it is in WhatsApp, whether it is in YouTube, whether it is just like in Facebook, wherever it is, please share to as many people as possible. And another thing, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is youtube.com/EBM Scholars. And my name is Ernest Boniface Makulilo, EBM from EBM Scholars, and I'm talking to you from my home office in the city of Belton in the great state of Missouri, United States of America. So let's start. When we are talking about undergraduate scholarships are a little bit different from graduate studies. I can simply say overall statement. I'm going to put the overall statement and then I'll go into detail to explain why and how does that come to play. Number one thing is it is almost impossible. It's very, very difficult, almost impossible to get undergraduate scholarships, especially in Europe and in North America, especially Canada and the United States of America. And I will go to explain to you why that is very, very difficult for you to get that kind of scholarships for undergraduate scholarships in comparison to applying for graduate, master's, PhD, or postdoctoral studies in the same countries in the developed world. So when you are applying for undergraduate studies, the funders, the people who are giving scholarships, they don't prefer to give scholarship to undergraduate. They give more scholarships to people for graduate studies for various number of reasons. There are very good reasons, by the way, but sometimes some you might have your own opinion, but I'm going to break down these kind of reasons and you can see what can you do as a solution, as a way forward if you are looking for scholarships, opportunities for undergraduate level. Number one, the language of instruction, the medium of instruction. The language is used in these kind of countries. Half is English and the other countries, they are using their own languages. So if you go to study to any country and that country is not using English as the national language, that country, the mother tongue is not English. Those people in that particular country, the language of instruction from kindergarten to bachelor degree, it is their mother tongue, it is their national language. So if you're going to Sweden, they are studying in Swedish. If you go to Norway, Norwegian. If you go to Germany, they are using German language. If you go to Netherlands, they are using Dutch language from kindergarten to bachelor degree. So that makes it difficult for you coming from Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Madagascar, coming from countries in Africa, and you want to pursue your studies, bachelor degree, let's say in Sweden. Obviously, you have to take the Swedish test. Just like how we have the English proficiency test, they have Swedish proficiency test, they have German proficiency test. So you have to perform, you have to pass that test to prove that you can be able to pursue studies using the language of that particular country. So that is number one reason why is it difficult. So that makes very few countries remain where they are using the English is the national language. English is the mother tongue. That means from kindergarten to bachelor degree, they are using English. So that means you go to the US, you go to Australia, New Zealand, UK in general. I mean, you put Ireland, you put those Wales, you put Britain itself. So that one in half of Canada. And if you want to go to other countries, you might talk about going to India and all other countries. But in general, there are very few countries of the developed world where they are using English as their national language or their mother tongue. But if you are going to the countries where the English is not used as the mother tongue, that means it's very difficult to get a scholarship for bachelor's degree. But in the same countries, if you go to Sweden, if you go to Norway, if you go to Finland, you are going to Denmark, you are going to Netherlands, you are going to Germany. For masters and PhD, they are using English. So that way, it makes easier to apply for masters and PhD in those countries. So that is number one reason. The second reason, why is it difficult to get bachelor's degree scholarships? Let's find why do these countries give scholarships. They have their own reasons. But one among the reasons is to make sure that they are helping countries in developing countries, like in Africa, to develop. So let's go to the fact that in America, for instance, in the US, bachelor's degree is 4 years. Master's is 2 years. So if you are the one giving scholarship, who do you prefer to give? To spend money for 4 years or to spend money for someone for 2 years? That means instead of bringing one person for undergraduate to do 4 years, you can be able to, after 2 years, you bring another person. So in the period of 4 years, for masters, you can be able to train 2 people. But for bachelor, you'll be able to train one person who is going to take for 4 years. So that makes it difficult. So people will prefer to fund for masters. And even if they fund it for PhD, PhD takes 3 to 5 years, depending on where. But the impact of someone with a master's or PhD is higher again. So that makes me to point number 3. Why is it difficult? Because if you come to study in the US for bachelor degree, you are studying the basic classes at the beginning. So you cannot be able to contribute to the department. You cannot be able to contribute to the university. Just like if you were in your country. Let's say you are in the University of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. You have very good GPA. What they will do, they can retain you to continue with your masters and what you call tutorial assistant, or some people they call teaching assistant, or TA in general. So there is what we call TA, teaching assistant, tutorial assistant. In many countries in Africa, they use that system. So the university or the department is allowing you to study. You don't pay school fees, and they give you a stipend for living expenses. So that is the system is in the US, but they call graduate assistantship program or teaching assistantship program or research assistant, depending what you'll be doing. So in graduate level, someone doing masters, someone doing PhD has a little bit impact to the school, impact to the department, because can be able to support marking exam, can be able to support standing on the seminar, leading the seminars, encouraging those discussions, doing research, doing a lot of things in graduate level. But if you bring someone for bachelor's degree, will be just there to get the money and just studying. So that is another thing they prefer more about masters and PhD versus someone from bachelor degree, because it has no impact to the department or doesn't have the bigger contribution once it comes to study in the US or in that particular country. Another thing is if someone is the impact to your country. So when you get the scholarship, whatever you want, in a statement of purpose, you have to indicate what are you going to do when you finish your studies. Obviously, you have to go back to your home country. That you have to indicate that reason. You'll be going back to your home country and explain what are you going to do after that. But if you look, someone coming to do Bachelor of Sociology and someone doing PhD in Sociology, someone doing PhD in Sociology, going back to Kenya, going back to Zimbabwe, going back to South Africa, going back to Nigeria, that person will be having a bigger impact to the community than just someone coming back to the country with the bachelor's degree, because there are so many universities people can have access to pursue bachelor's degree in those particular countries. But masters and the PhD, it comes to be a little bit difficult. So they prefer to fund to masters and the PhD, because those people, when they go back, they might have a bigger impact to their home country compared to just going back to your home country with a bachelor's degree. So those are some of the reasons as to why it's becoming very difficult to get scholarships for bachelor's degree. I didn't say it's completely impossible. It is almost impossible not to get scholarships for bachelor's degree. I know in the US, for instance, There is one video I already explained about Berea College. Is one college in the US in the state of Kentucky. That college gives 100% scholarships to international students for bachelor's degree. I've never seen any other college, any other university in the US providing 100% scholarships for people doing bachelor's degree. So it is just like almost you cannot find it. But Berea is one example. But it's very, very difficult. So what is my advice to the parents? What is my advice to you if you are looking for bachelor's degree? Don't waste much of your time to just, I'm not applying for my own country. You're just starting applying for master, for bachelor in Europe or in US. It will be wasting of time. So what you do, just apply if you want in US, whatever you want, if you want. But I advise people, and especially parents, make sure your children are applying for bachelor's degree in your home country. They do the studies there, encourage them to get good scores, and then they apply for masters. Because there are so many opportunities for masters and PhD than for bachelor's degree. But also, as a parent, life in Western countries is very, very complicated. If you bring someone who is like 19 years old, 18 years old, 17 years old, someone directly from, let's say, from Lagos, or someone directly from Kisumu in Kenya, or someone directly from Mtwara in Tanzania, or someone from Kigali in Rwanda, you bring someone is 17 in New York, you bring someone to stay in LA or Chicago, in these big cities in America, it is be very, very difficult for that person to cope, that person to be able to study, to be able to live in this complex life. So some people, some of the kids, they end up just dropping out. Some they get into trouble. Some they want to just follow the mob psychology. Some want to go and start using drugs. So there is a lot of risk for someone coming from Africa at the age of 17, directly to Chicago, alone, and started surviving that kind of complex life. I know there are people who came here and did very good studies at that age, and they are doing very wonderful things up to now. But majority of people, it is very complex, lonely, complicated life. So it is not a good idea to bring someone who is 17. But if someone comes from Africa, you are 21, 22, you have already your bachelor degree, you have gone a lot. You have gone through a lot of so much stuff. So coming here, you'll be able to compete. You'll be able to sustain any kind of challenges ahead of you. So for parents, if you want your child to succeed, let your child have a bachelor degree in your home country, and encourage you to get good scores, and help the person to apply for masters and PhD in US, Europe, and whatever country they want to apply. So that is, I want to give a little bit of brief about why it's almost impossible. It's very difficult to apply for bachelor's degree. That's why whenever I post some of the posts here, you'll find this information about masters and PhD more than application for bachelor's degree. So if you have any particular question, put on the comment below, and I'll be able to respond as soon as possible. So my channel is just like more interactive. You have any question particular about this particular video, put it on the comment below, and I will respond to you as soon as possible. And make sure that you are going to succeed in your life. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Again, I remind you, subscribe to my channel, youtube.com/EBM Scholars, but also forward this particular video to your colleagues. You might not be able, or you might not be interested for this particular information or this kind of scholarship, but share to another person. You never know who is looking this kind of information. Thank you, thank you, thank you again, and goodbye. It is me, Ernest Makulilo. Bye-bye.